And don't worry, I'm not Lord of the Reich like Waldeck and Savage. He's Lord of the Reich. He's forming up a Reich, and he thinks he's a Soviet hammer and a sickle. He figures the sickle is sharper than the hammer, and the hammer is duller than the sickle. He figures he's Boris from Snatch. He figures a lot of things. He figures he's smart. And I forgot how to talk the last, since I moved from Richmond, and I forgot how to talk because no one had abducted anything from me, or anyone from me. And one thing that's not up for abduction is my child, or sorry, my cat's child, and for Pat Haynes, he knows nothing because Pat Haynes is in Kelowna. Oh, that's 2 hours from here. Pat Haynes doesn't know anything. Pat Haynes simply he's dull to fucking anything to do with Kamloops because if somebody in California controls those three cities or three towns, sorry, they're three towns, and then they're not a mega city because they're not. There's not 20 million people in there. There can't be a mega city. It's impossible. But Pat Haynes is so rich and so arrogant that they were trying to save their money to take over the government. And they got so rich and arrogant that a man named Tony just sits around and pretends he's government. He's retired. And he's not government. He never was. And my grandpa Wayne, yeah, one time he said that at one time, men who wanted to be in parliament had to own shares in CP. But that was at one time. This is not how it is now. Everybody can own shares in CP if you have access to money and you have a trading account. But that's a different story. Not everybody does, and I'm not endorsing him in any way. I'm just saying this man doesn't work at the railway. He's Tony. He might be Tony from The Simpsons, and well, simply put, I don't know how smart he is, but I'm not going to smoke any cannabis on film. And is that a clock up there? Oh, it is. That's nice. What? There's a nice clock up there. What? And Sydney's sure she knows where I am. Huh? She's sure she's called Riley, and she's called Cindy Lou. Gang Squad wants to talk to you, Cindy. Because you've been given fake names. And did you give someone a fake name at my old residence there? Cindy, you're caught. Wigs and fake names, they only work for so long. She's got warrants, probably a mile long, or they just want to talk to you. Say, they can't shake you, but I would shake you, because I don't do that to women. But remember when you moved my several $1,000s, and you meant to do that for Waldeck, the Polak there? He calls himself a Polak, but he's not from Poland. So if he's not welcome in Poland yet, well, he's not welcome in Poland. I can guarantee you that. And that's what he called himself. I think he's from Moscow area. That's where he was born, in that area. What do I know? And who do I speak to? Well, your file as a KGB man came across the desk of a man that remembers this particular person because he might have found a picture on Facebook, and it's not her fault. She put it there. Remember, I kind of got mad at her for that? Well, there's a reason, because I was working his ass. Anyways, and somebody may have caught it there and took a screenshot, because I'm kind of popular. And, well, she didn't do anything wrong, because this is a man, and he has these on he doesn't have a Facebook account. And, well, that's a shitty thing for him, because me and someone else know how to politic. And we're not together, but it doesn't mean we're, exes. We separated in 2020, and that's a fact. In 2021, I sent a divorce through an internet site, and one of these two girlfriends I had last year deleted it because they're jealous. And then they started fighting over me. And, well, I win because they're both protected by me. And I was doing this show at I'm at a good man's house right now, and he's a little confused as to why I'm talking, but I'm talking because I'm streaming. And I got a hacker on the employee. And he's a man not from Valley View. Nope. International. He's not Spiderweb either. Nope. And that's a good man. They're both good men who people are thinking of. I got a hacker on the employee. And she's someone that might have known the Queen personally. Maybe she spoke to him before. In 2020, when I first made this. She got a kick out of this. And maybe she didn't want anybody to know who it was. Maybe she's a man that knew who Kenny was, but didn't know him personally. Because he's a man that helped design the infrastructure for modern banking. When it went digital, he was in on them. He was a computer designer, computer scientist. and maybe he knew of her as Susie Keys or Susie McEwen, Mama Bear, code name, and maybe uh, the ex there. She's one of the ex-wife. She should start writing a book because people probably love to hear about the story of your father. You know it, and there's no money for me because Preston, and that's right, Preston had an interest in Grandpa Wayne's money, and Grandpa Wayne baited him in. And anything Preston does, well, guess what? Shanette knows about it. So Shanette, well, she's a tennis playing gal, and Preston owns a window. Well, for now he does. He window cleans her. He has Pascal manage it for him, and he sits around and does nothing except draconian style evil. He's looking at a reason for Pat to tell him to fucking call me. Well, Pat's still Pat Haynes, and he's still way high up the chain of command. This doesn't make Derek laugh because Derek's in that chain of command too, and he doesn't want Pat to get mad at him. He doesn't even talk to him on the phone, and there's a reason, and I know what it is. And well, Pat's worried about Derek, doing something. Well, Derek's not going to do anything because he knows to keep his mouth shut, and that's just Pat would be worried about something like that, and he knows that because well, Derek told his mother, not just a realtor. Does Derek know? I still smoke weed. And does Derek know we're not under the same chain of command? I'm not under the chain of command. Do they know that could be more than one person watching? This made it outside of BC, and there's not just House Angels watching. There's other motorcycle clubs too. They forget about that. Outlaws Motorcycle Club. There's the Banditos Motorcycle Club. Well, I seen the Nomads on TikTok. They all look like pretty good guys. I have that account on my TikTok. What's my account? She's it 6. Well, that's just for fun. I mean, these are all fun and nothing. Nothing. The church never did anything wrong to me. I got away with that one. Well, I mean, this was in New Year's. Marshall was there, but he was inside the building, and this is New Year's in 2021 to 22. No, 22 to 23. Yes, this was just a New Year's only a couple of years ago. I suppose my power has grown. I just learned how to talk again. Derek's worried about this now. He's not sure what I'm talking about. He's high on weed too, and he's trying to think, and I'm trying to think, but we still know each other, Derek. And well, he doesn't know who's watching. He figures it's just the Hells Angels that they stopped it at that. Well, this goes out to the whole internet, like the internet, and, or the web, web of lies. I should have put that one on that movie list too. And it's comical now, but some people know of this resume. It wasn't much of a resume because I did that in the car with Mom and Cheryl. I did that sometime in 2021. Was it 2020? I was just messing with an astute man. He doesn't mess around. His name was Gates. First name, no, because this is a man that my mother said to me was a veteran. And I always thought he was a Hayden, but he wasn't a Hayden. He happened to be a Gates. He did 2 or 3 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. This is what my mom wasn't sure what war it was, and my mom holds the trade secret of our family. She didn't get them all. Chrissy didn't get them all. She sold them all off to a man in California, and him and if you've been picking off people in and around my family for, I don't know, 30 years. So I think we're on the right side of things. And Pat Haynes is going to say, well, it's true because it's true. And I know that since probably I sold my first dime bag. I'm the genius from Richmond Elementary or Richmond Preschool. It's down by the water somewhere. And Crystal Ann is going, she thinks this is good for her. Crystal Ann is slated for the jailhouse. So when I get my iPhone account back, you're going in. And you got nothing on me. So she's like, Christopher, you're slated for the jailhouse because you got to give yourself up for something you did. You don't want to, but if you kill me, it's already out. So you can't because Mike wants out. And when Mike gets out, he's a good American. Who I don't think did anything in PG except buy a small weed pack. And there was nothing hidden up there. I probably got drunk or poisoned that night. I can't remember how to explain to him how much I didn't like how Owen was, disliked how someone was treating in jail, but nobody discussed anything about killing him. So I can't remember. I was drunk on whiskey, and I woke up in the morning. I was well, and you know, I noticed a K bar on top of a fridge somewhere, and it was at Lion's house over by Auntie Kim's, and in the six packs. He was on top of the fridge, and Chris snuck up on me that day like he was gonna kill me, and he's a nomad, and he must be, but he must be a fall down one because he's into the weird shit. He's cracking up. When people start cracking up, they get into strange, deep, dark things. And I never cracked up once because I'm not a Hell's Angel. I'm not a human trafficked male. No, I'm not. And I'm not a outlaw. No, I'm not. I'm not a bandito. No, I'm not. I'm not a Mongol. No, I'm not. And I'm a civilian or citizen of Canada. And this is going to be. And I wrote the Mob Radio. Oh, I wrote Mob Radio 999. And Derek's wondering something. And we're watching, and Derek remembers when. And remember when you don't talk, remember when. I talk, remember when on the computer. You talk. Oh, you keep in touch with Crystal Sphincter. Oh, you're trying to get in there. Oh, you're going to build her up to be. She's changed, Derek, since you kept in touch with her. She was a smart young lady when I was dating Montana, who's, 26, who's, I'm 35, and she's wonderful, Montana. She's the brains of that operation. And Crystal's still working on developing hers. You told her methamphetamine was okay to smoke? You don't smoke it, Derek. You vaporize it, no? Roll a bowl. You remember that, Derek? Derek, you remember this from when you were a teenager? Oh, nobody ever thought that. Derek had a meth problem. We could spin this off so he sells the house again. The owner of Roller Page will make sure he sells one once in a while. Because he's a standalone neo-Nazi like Adam. And that's what Valdick taught you to. And Valdick, he's going off a little piece of paper where I drew something in preschool in Richmond. He thinks that's his son. No, I was there, Valdick. I was there, and I remember looking at it. It was my first effective memory down there. Other than my brother throwing my mother down the stairs, and that wasn't good. They're at home relaxing. They don't watch this all the time. Or Dad hasn't found Beth Banner yet. If he won't let him watch it. If he's a human trafficker. He thinks he owns people. Iffy, this is worldwide. Iffy, just started for the brig. Well, he's not part of the service branches. I got a services card? I don't. No, I don't have a services card. They don't exist. I must have a personal health number. I do. But I'm 357-742-713. Because if this is Terminator, I'd be just a number. I'd be a robot. They drugged me so many times and 20 times. And Derek's just wondering why I ain't dead yet. And Preston had to call him and tell him that. Preston, Jeanette, tennis playing girl. Valdick got an oil change done by her. And this is her daughter. And you met her. And she wants revenge on you. And what about the women, man? What the women that knew the women that knew the women? Anything happened in Vancouver we don't want to talk about? Because some men were completely against that. And there's either pro Valdick or there's pro Cody. And you guys are trying to keep me out of the dope game. And I'm pretty safe where I'm at. And why don't I know where Ashley is? Because it's not the 31st yet. Why'd she change her number? Without, I don't need, we should need to give me permission. Does Ron need to? I don't have my iPhone list. I should have his number. They won't let me have an iPhone. I'm not human trafficked. Derek, you're a human trafficked male. You're part of the Hells Angels. They're a slave trade operation. I'm confirming that right now by the way he's thinking. Hells Angels have gone into slave trade, and they think all of them are part of a chain of command that doesn't exist. And Mr. Bacon in California is a slave trader, and he needs to be locked up or put a bullet in his fucking head because he'll just use draconian telekinetics from jail. And see, old school traditional mafia, from a historian standpoint, they use things called actual people talking, and they have rooms where they sweep and they know there's nobody there. They talk, and these guys are just they do draconian telekinetics, so they're all gone evil on it. That's something new that happened to the Polish at one point before they were Poland. It reminds me of Valdick, or maybe the Soviets were using that stuff. before Joseph Stalin jailed them all in the gulag. And the Russian mafia simply got caught. They're still trying to, I think the Russian mafia is still trying to figure out how they got past Joseph Stalin. Because they did. And they don't do any draconian style telekinetics. They don't do the stuff. And reminds me of just a theory I had, but maybe maybe like Genghis Khan and them and maybe they rode through the only the only the well, they're the biggest country in the world, but at one time the Soviet Union was quite impressive, and the Soviet Union was, and it's not. Valdek, it's time to watch The Hunt for the Red October, and and he won't watch it. It's probably my favorite movie, and he won't watch it. There's a scene in there for you, Valdek. There's a scene in there when I can't remember the characters right off the top of my head, but I know Sean Connery. He was pretty. He wanted his boat to himself. He wanted his own chain of command. He trained everybody on that boat probably, and he wanted them all to himself. He wasn't giving that boat up. And well, as the story goes, and he was the villain, the school teacher. That's what they called this character, Valley, and it was Sean Connery who played the role. And he knows of this man, and he's hated. And me and Valdek talk no Soviet Union at all. I knew him for 10 years. He don't like me no more. I wonder why. And Valdek, what are you going to do? Come down here and beat me up? Valdek, remember when I told you the story about Montana being, when Lewis, you know, was, his real name is, I can't remember. He had an old last name, and I understand that. He remembers me from being in a dope game. And his brother met me at 7-Eleven. We probably have no problem with each other at all, because I met Lewis and I shook his hand after what happened. And well, I had to because he was there loading Lawrence Jackson. This is before, well, this is when Lawrence Jackson wasn't allowed to load off anybody but Jake. And that's Smiley's propaganda. And Smiley's part of an invisible chain of command that technically shouldn't exist because they're slave traders now and they do draconian telekinetics. But some hold it in high regard because they're out of Oakland and they're trying to get things working properly because they're looking at, I mean, all the men in Oakland are slave traders, and some of them believe in a thing called prostitution, but they don't buy and sell women like and treat them like human trafficked ones. Because maybe Rob Barger figured that out. And he was fighting, they were infighting, so they're infighting. And I'm not a Hells Angel, and I'm not a nomad, but I'm not. I'm CZER, so I'm basically an arena. In Oakland, they can throw tomatoes at me, but I'm in like a glass house. And they don't do anything. I got windshield wipers. And, well, I'm in Kamloops. Sounds space age.
Shit, holy fuck.
But it stands for Kamloops. The British version or the American version. Well, it depends if you're in America or in Canada, because we speak English here. And the Americans aren't getting that out of me. And I speak English. And not one Canadian speaks Canadian. I give them, that's a fact. But I speak English. And I may be a Canadian version of it. But the Americans ain't getting that. And Derek doesn't think this is funny anymore. He thinks that he shouldn't be a neo-Nazi, maybe? And prove it, right, Derek? And you figure what the person tell you? I'm going to jail any day? Preston, I don't even know your last name. I don't know Auntie Taylor's last name, but you ain't welcome to Hayden Family Business. And one person that ain't welcome is Pascal Hayden. He isn't Hayden Family Business at all. He's a failed spy and a con man. And he didn't con nothing. He just didn't want to work for me because I'm too strict. And I do things perfectly. And he was working for me when I was at floor 6. And they gave me my cell phone. I had action in there. And well, I did. He was working for me then. He was running things around for me. That's the last work I ever had. I lied about Chris G being the last work I ever had. I forgot about him. And he would have met Valdek. He would have met him in all his glory at his house in my hood, where he pretended to sell it. I left him one voicemail. He's been Soviet kill mode since. Don't hit your wife, Valdek. You'll be the last fucking thing you ever do. That much you're being rude to your wife, and that's not gonna be tolerated. You won't let her leave now, will you? You're scared. He's hiding behind his women. These guys in BC, they're basically other than my dad, because he's good. He hasn't done no human trafficking. He hasn't done anything. Maybe a half bushel of fucking angels, but hey, who knows? They can't be proven. And if he there, well, he thinks he controls things. He thinks this is a good thing for him. If you're not on my side and you're your own leader. So when shit hits the fan, when you get removed from your home, and your wife gets to stay, well, iffy. There's no evidence. So iffy. There's no evidence. So why don't you leave your wife and go stay in a hotel in town for a night? See, have you ever left her side? She's been there for you. But this is a time where it's dangerous for you. He doesn't want to believe that. He wants to hide behind his woman. That's their strategy. They all hide behind women. And in BC, they saturated it because there's big time bad blood between them all. And they don't want to start killing each other off, so I'm trying to negotiate something for them. And Derek Weather is one of them. He handled counter surveillance for him against me for, well, what? How many years, Derek? Trying to think. Derek hasn't been the same since he was a standalone tweaker himself. But we know each other personally, so he's probably thinking that me and his mother are going to get him out of shit. Because he's in shit. He's trying to think what he's done wrong. I'm not a Hell's Angel. I'm not a human trafficked male. Because I don't work for Iffy. I ran into him once, and this is like within the last 4 weeks, where he wanted me dead. And I was simply turning around in front of his property. And he asked me if I was okay. He didn't know it was me. He didn't recognize me. And he said, "Are you okay?" And I said nothing to him. And he didn't know it was me. He pulled over. He pulled up to me on his Harley because he thought I was broken down. And he thought I was a random person. And that's as close as I got to Iffy and his chain of command. So I supplied dope off certain sources in the last 21 years. Because guess what? They're looking like a military establishment in this province. And they use draconian telekinetics. And guess what? The Oakland Angels aren't, because they're trying to manage them. They don't want to take orders in Kamloops or Kelowna or Vernon, because one man ruins it. He's just a president. It's not part of the Oakland Angels. He's just one president of one chapter. The rest of the world is there. There's several billion on the planet. And how many people? It's just Derek thinks it's just the Hells Angels that get this. No, this goes out to everybody, Derek. And Derek, you're not famous. Don't think you're embarrassed. And you've been lied to. It's okay, Derek. Just take those colors off. So, what if somebody finds a old English law that's simply that? Well, certain things are made welcome to the internet because certain people have spy cameras. Certain people know that this is my riding code. I bought it with my own money that I earned from doing something called moving around, which is kinetic energy. And in this country and others, when you earn money doing things, it's yours. And that's how it goes. And you know who doesn't own the currency in this country? Hell's Angels. They don't. They never fucking will. Doesn't matter how much kinetic energy they put into thinking it. They don't own it. So that's a fact. And I'm not see any chains on me? No, you don't. And I'm not human trafficked. Is that what somebody in California and somebody from Riverside thinks? Because if he thinks that, see, I can't go by there because he's just gonna call the cops. He's an organized criminal, not on his record, but he's just gonna call the cops because he's simply thinking that I'm the problem, and I'm allowed to say remember when. I could tell a story without Iffy in it because I've never even met the man. No, that was him. I knew it was him. It could have been a neighbor, but it was him. I seen a big dumb man with long gray hair, and he holds big power. But when it comes to cartels and how much they hate him, well, he doesn't seem so powerful anymore. And he's one of the ones. Him and Brian the Dude down there stirring up violence, doing different things with draconian evil. And I'm simply a good man. That's probably pretty bright. And well, this is my riding coat because I owned it. I own it. It's mine. It's in my possession. That's how it works. You have something that's in your possession, it's yours. The man rents the place here, it's his. It's his. Because he's he rents it. And he's in a dwelling home, and that's how a man thinks. Because Brian there, I guess he thought when I moved in for 18 months, exactly to the day, he thought I was owned by him. Because Brian there can go fuck himself. because he's just hoping the police come pick me up. Why would they pick me up? Brian, Brian, you're not an alpha. You're the Neanderthal in the middle of the province. That's all you are, Brian. Have another drink. Throw your glass. Brian, Brian. There's good Brian's and there's bad Brian's, and you're the bad one. So, and what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about it? And well, these guys are simply. And if this blog comes to, I seen it on the internet once at the library, and Ral got it for me. And well, this is an old law, and well, it's some sort of law that it's not in Martin's criminal code, but it could probably be used in a courtroom. And if it's proven to be true, well, if you wear Hells Angels colors anywhere in the province of BC, or have been seen with them on in private, because they've become what they call, they're not internet sensations, not even close. They're actually quite private men, and with that law, see, they used to ride the colors on, and pictures were taken, and but they look different now, and well, point of the matter is, they might be wrapped up in a thing called suspicious activity to overthrow government, and they might look like a paramilitary establishment with all the ex-veterans around there. They're the veterans that went to their employer, that love this country more than life itself. Some of them like money. What is it? Because some ex-veterans tried to kill me once. I ate the pill anyways. Is that the head of the serpent? Or is that a fucking saber tooth? Ah! Does it hurt when it's under my nose? I'm a magician, just like Valdek. Valdek, this is something the Polish found out a long time ago? Before they were Polish? Is that why Genghis Khan went there? Maybe he was there for a reason. Maybe he liberated Moscow. Maybe he liberated Warsaw. Helped. Because they were under some sort of draconian evil. Maybe that's what it was. Because me, I'm a pretty good guy. I'm not a biker. I just wear my riding coat because I like it. I rode a Harley on it. No, I rode a hog. A bike. Motorcycle. It was simply built with cost efficiency in mind. I enjoyed it because I rode it nicely. It was a shovelhead and a hardtail. I liked the bike. I saw my dad ride it when he was younger because I seen it when I was a teenager, and I liked it. Looked like fun. I rode the motorcycle, and it was good. And I simply didn't insure it. I rode an illegal hat, helmet, and that's because I was never a Hells Angel. I might have garnered some respect among some other Hells Angels other than in Kamloops, Vernon, or Kelowna. KVK. That doesn't sound as good. I was on my TikTok. I have a TikTok account. Those my videos are just for fun. Those were back in 2020. The ones in office kind of setting, those were from floor 6. Nobody knew I was making those back there. And nobody knew. I said my dad sank the ship on that one. Just because, well, I told him, I sent him a video. He probably seen all those. He probably thinks I'm a low level dealer. He thinks I'm slaughtered for death. Me and him are just laughing. Because if he doesn't have a fucking clue, he's losing his mind on draconian telekinetics. And now 5 or 6 guys are trying to get questions out of Iffy. And his mind's going crazy. And we're just driving him crazy. And he should only be paying attention to his business. Because it's not my business. And he's a baby boomer. And Tony's going to sleep. Tony's probably sleeping. Tony had a bad dream. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. He wishes he had a son. Because I'm not his son. He never had one. Andy has one. He told me to sell weed. I sold weed for 13 years. They ran me out of that business. Andy, it's okay. You're probably not going to jail for like a year at a time. So, you're not going to get deported either. Get away with something? No. He's been here a long time. He worked hard. He worked hard. And he always worked hard. He always had that in his corner because he simply always worked hard. And Uncle Andy, nothing on. There's no money on you right now. That's good. Because real. And Tony shouldn't be sleeping right now. Or he's not right now. He had a bad dream. He's in the dark. Like hell. He's a Hell's Angel. So when Ralph Barger designed him, I think he wanted to keep him out in the underworld. But when they got too rich and powerful and they just got in the slave trade, well, that's probably not what he had in mind. And some men don't care. That's the business they're in. Well, that's probably is what it is. But a lot of them do care. A lot of them don't want anything to do with them because they're divided and fractured at best. And I took a large swath of them with me as a leader, but in Canvas they won't pay me my what's due, respect. And I lead from example, not by fucking force or by order. And they're not. I'm not responsible for any of their criminal actions at all. I never will be, because they want to be. They want a leader. Well, they can hate me all they want, and they need leadership because they're in this shit that's fucking disgusting. And it's guilty by association, man. And the VKK, you guys seen it on my TikTok? It's just for fun. And it's not a mega city. There's not even enough people to be a mega city. And they can consider it what they want because there's still 4Ks. And I'm a strategic genius. I'm just working on my next strategy. Keeping Derek out of jail because Erickson, he's going in. One way or another. He'll find his way to jail. He thinks he's going to kill me. And his dad figures he's probably okay. He killed Sam Strike's horse and a bovine up behind. And he tried to pick on me. Well, that was no problem. I just broke his leg. Well, it was an accident. He's a grown man. What's he hiding behind his dad for? I tucked all these young guys into the dad's leg to make them Hell's Angels or whatever they wanted to make them. And they made all this money. And they seem to think they're going to cut me out of my small bag dope line. But the Hell's Angels around the world call these guys, they won't take calls because they're hiding because they're scared of law enforcement. I'm not going in, man. My taxes are paid. I'm barely selling anything right now. And Tracy's probably not going in. Shawnee might. She's relying on her dad. If anything happens to me, he's gone. One way or another. John Tordoff is not in good shape because he put something in my car which is not keeping me safe. It's actually keeping me trackable. You just gave you just did exactly what you told him. Your chapter president is Mr. Lipstick in California. Who he hates that one the most. He hates that one the most. And it makes him just cringe. And how do I know that? He's cringy. He cringes. And losing your boardroom there, he's no good thing for a bad thing. He gets this live and he gets it delayed.
Oh, my God. Oh.
I would hurt it under his nose. Here's the handlebars. Handlebar massage still. He's a standalone Hell's Angel. He's in hell. He likes living in heaven now. He's different. There's still guys in the trenches. Not wearing a patch and not street level. What's going on? Guys don't pay attention. Some do. Some understand what's going on in the canvas area. If he's trying to sell out the game to either Indo-Canadians or Canadian Indos. Anybody other than me. Because he simply thinks I want him dead. Well, he's not wrong. But I'm not going to do it. I know where you live, though. I know in a fist fight, I'd knock you the fuck out. No fucking problem. I don't care if you box before you hunted many moves. You ain't got a chance against me, street fighting. Don't you dare put somebody else in the middle. That's not how it works. He's not he's not seniority and he's not from this part of the country anymore. There's a reason why he's supposed to be in Quebec. It's probably where his dad thinks he is. Because the problems he caused going on. And I'm not trying to, I'm trying to look out for him and his family. And his family's fine. And I know that. Somebody else does that. Well, we've never met, but. And if I'm not your leader, you lead yourself. You lead yourself right to a good night's sleep, okay? There's a clock there. Time's ticking. You got work to do? You haven't been on your computer lately? You just wait for these and you spy on me at the same time. So what are you doing draconian evil with people in town for? When I call somebody off my phone, why is it you do telekinetic draconian evil on them? Tell them not to call me. Because you're the evil one. you're the one with the hundreds of dead bodies behind you, or you simply represent BC Patch, and that brought cash to Vito Rizzuto, and don't anymore. Someone in California said, no, we're not paying him anymore. Well, I would suggest you get a back tax strategy involved with how much he's going to make. And he's probably got to talk business in New York for that. And that's a different business. That's for flooring. And he's into the flooring business, maybe. Maybe it is. This isn't fun for Dare. He's trying to think of how much money they've set aside since 2013. And it all went to somebody in California. And oops. Because he doesn't want any beef with anybody in California, this man in California. He thought he was alpha down there. He thought he ran the whole province already. So does he know about the other presidents in California? There's more than one chapter. And that was the chapters in, I don't know, Illinois. There's got to be some there. Well, there's none there? There's one there. There's a couple there. And that's naturally outlaws motorcycle club territory for motorcycle clubs. And I understand that because I read the book House Angels at War when I was 13. And there's outlaws here in the province of BC, but I read a newspaper article once. They use natural gas generators instead of diesel. Quieter. They have good money in the coast. They probably don't show their colors either. But I just know that as a historian. I don't know him personally. I understand somebody else's leadership role, and I get that. I seen the Banditos Nomads once on TikTok. They look like straight-laced good Americans. So, some of the Canadians
Cody are gonna stop by.
Or I can't remember, but
Okay.
I didn't actually meet him, so I can't tell. I seen Billy on there once. TikTok. Seen he made her in. He must have been hanging around the second he walked in that club. Or he already was. Or that's when they found him. That's when they found Billy. Billy's a serious man. And that's been about 15 years. He seen me once recently. He thought he wasn't allowed to. I was scared. He pulled me over. And he come a long ways. And he's not sure what that is, but probably don't bother him. And nothing changed. Because he told me some good information once. So he told me some good theory, philosophy. So as long as you don't, get in anybody's shit and get into shit in the city, or certain way of operating in the city. Well, who's seen this? Only some people. And the Surrey chapter has probably got nothing to worry about at all. Now there's another chapter down there. They've been disbanded. That's Valdic's chapter. There was one down there. Because him and an Indian from Surrey made their own chapter or something like that.
How you doing?
And they're into human trafficking. And there's another one of Valdic's problems. He's the man that makes chapters all over the world, but in his name is it? I mean, he's made a couple hundred. Valdic, you've been a busy beaver in that spiral. He's not a beaver at all. He's like they call himself a polite. He puts that bomb in the muffler.
Okay, then Cody coming over. Get back.
Well, I'm busy. So, stand alone, Valdic.
Huh? Me?
No, Valdic's standing alone. Valdic's not sure who that is, but he'll find out. No, he won't.
You put your man here.
Valdic. And I'm still not a Hells Angel. And I never fucking will be. Or I'll never be a nomad, because I ain't. I never fucking will be. And I'm not human trafficked. I wasn't human trafficked when I was in T-bars last. As far as I know. I'm not chained up and beaten. And he doesn't do that shit down there. Nope. That's an imaginary chapter that Valdic set up. And Valdic. Why don't you go live in North Van again? Does he remember who Brad Hayden was? And we never talked about him once, did we? I know him for 10 years. On and off. Because you never really know Valdic. Once he's done with you, he's done with you. And, well, Valdic, I should come up there and knock you the fuck out. Because he's probably still in my hood. I'm not gonna. And he's gonna think about calling the cops now. Wildlick, that's not your. I didn't say your middle name. So. I'm not even in town. This is in a hotel, and that's a fake clock. This is a pre-recording, Valdic. And you're delayed. And look at your nose hairs, Valdic. Wasn't that close? You never see me in this coat either. I'm still. I don't own a Harley, so I don't ride. Not right now. And they'd love to have me in their ranks. So they can march me up in the bush and shoot me. And that's not gonna happen. So I'm an independent. Always have been. And that may be hard to say, but I can't remember the delay on here. But it's nice to hear somebody talk shit about Valdic because his grandmother has to make the decision about him, but he doesn't have diplomatic immunity. You may want to think about that. I seen a show once. I was there with Pascal Squally, and he's known to be a man that ratted me out before. He doesn't get through an interrogation room, and there's no reason to pull him over. His dad would be concerned, but he's a hangaround now, or he's a prospect, or he's out in Kelowna. And I was detained recently. I stopped by his property to just see how he's doing, and somebody must not like Smiley very much because simply put, draconian telekinesis doesn't work. And Smiley called me in, and he didn't even know I was on the property. How did the police know to look there? Well, that's a mystery because voice recognition software. Or no, they don't use that. I just knew. I knew it was him because he was the only one that played a trick like that. Because it must be a trick. Because you're a cop calling Hell's Angel now. And Chris Larson, who's not Hell's Angel, he's just a crack addict. And he's a father. And he's a cop caller too. And I knew when he came home once for not paying a taxi fee because the cops dropped him off and he wanted money from me, but there was a pack inside and there was a pack of smokes because Jesse, I was your runner twice. I bought the GMC, the 3500 from you. I got good mileage on that truck. Well, not great fuel mileage, and that was a white one. I remember when you bought that nice truck from Kelowna and you drove all the way out to Bachelor Heights. And you told me that Valdic was the man with power. I had already met him a few times, and I had to go right into his pocket. No, I was still buying around then. See, that's when I actually made some money before Soviet Val and ignorant Adam, who's got money, but he's too stupid to protect his family because he's just an idiot hiding behind the police. And the police aren't there to protect you guys because you guys got the colors on. You guys think you're gangsters, but Constable Livingston, he's a nice man, and he didn't even give me a speeding ticket once. He pulled me over. I was going 10 over. He warned me, and I got the message. And Valdic there, he speeds across the country with 100, 200 pounds on him. Why is he speeding? He must be the flying Polak, but he's not Polish. So, and well, I'm an independent still, and I always will be. So, someone's waiting for me to show up in Port Coquitlam. Well, I'm probably not gonna. So, it's a long ways to go, and I haven't got the money. So, the spy room's open, but I ain't the center of attention. I am. And it's domestic spying. If more of you are on there, it's not going to make it safer for you. Encryptions aren't as good as you think. Supercomputers are existent. So I know someone who won't be bothered, Crystal Vickers, because she's wonderful. And she's someone who can get me into the pimping racket. And she is. So, and one man who I left at a funeral hall, he hasn't moved since, I'm sure of it. And I snarled at him once, and I even had the gall to blame something on Crystal. But I was just trying to trick my grandfather. I wasn't sure if he was a Hell's Angel or not. That's the best way to pass a message these days, because what I see is what I say. There's a delay. Turn time, your browsers you have up.
2 girls over there. A couple of them, I think. One anyway. I don't know. I think the truth.